Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Today's video is sponsored by Zoom. This is going to be a video going over Zoom video conferencing for video communications. You can use Zoom to record, stream, and talk to your friends. Zoom became very popular during the pandemic when people were not allowed to go to work and had to talk to their coworkers, boss, and employees via video chat online. I got asked if I would be open to a partnership, and I'd like to read it to you and give you some of my thoughts. Hi, Lewis. I hope you're having a good week. I'm reaching out on behalf of the Zoom affiliate team. As Zoom expands its suite of services, they're looking to connect creators like yourself to help spread the word about everything Zoom has to offer, not just its video meeting function. They also just recently launched Zoom Contact Center, which helps businesses deliver prompt, accurate, and highly personalized customer experiences. Happy to jump on a call to discuss the potential partnership further, but let us know what you would need to get started or if you have any questions. And then a follow-up. Hi, Lewis. I know emails can get lost and inboxes fill up, so I hope you don't mind me reaching out to work together. I would love to discuss building a partnership with you. Okay, let's talk about building a partnership. There's a video I did recently on this channel, very recently, about Samsung. Samsung is a garbage company. Samsung issued a software update that had a binding arbitration clause in it. This means that if you have a problem with Samsung, you are not able to seek redress or justice before a judge or a jury. You have to go to an arbitrator. An arbitrator is somebody who's paid by the manufacturer to settle disputes and figure out the proper way to settle those disputes. And they are paid by the manufacturer. To give you a better analogy here for those who don't understand, imagine if I killed your wife and I hired the judge and I hired the jury and we had a trial. Do you think there might be any bias because I'm paying the judge and I'm paying the jury, and I may no longer pay that judge and jury for future cases if they don't rule in a favorable way on mine? This is why forced arbitration is complete and utter anti-consumer bullshit, because you're taking away any right the consumer has to seek redress via a jury of their peers in a court of law if you screw them over in some way, shape, or form. And in my opinion, half of these forced arbitration agreements aren't even legal. So the person who settles the dispute is the person who's paid by the company to settle the dispute and decide who's right, because there's no conflict of interest there. And for some reason, this company that watches my channel enough to know my email decided to email me about this when this is in their own terms of service. This comes from explore.zoom.us/en/terms. Dispute resolution, arbitration agreement, and class action waiver. You agree to resolve certain disputes with Zoom's binding arbitration. Arbitration means that an arbitrator and not a judge or jury will decide a dispute. The parties expressly waive their right to bring or participate in any kind of class, collective or mass action, private attorney, general action, or any other representative action. This arbitration agreement supersedes all prior versions. You could be using Zoom, which is closed source, costs money, and has an anti-consumer arbitration agreement, or you could use something like Jitsi Meet. Jitsi is Apache licensed. This is open source. It is free. And when you look in the terms and conditions, it does not have any arbitration garbage in it. When I hit Control F and search for arbitration, I get 0 results because it does not exist in their agreement, because Jitsi doesn't suck. Jitsi is very easy, and you can start it from within a browser. You go to the Jitsi Meet site. It will have a page like this where you can just insert a code, and when you hit Start Meeting, that code that you saw there shows up as the actual URL for the meeting. And you can just give that code out to anybody. They don't have to install the software on their computer or anything like that. It's very easy to find meetings. So here, I don't have it showing my URL bar, so I'll just post it here. So you see the code that I had for my meeting is the actual URL for the meeting. It is that easy. And one of the great things about Jitsi is that unlike some open source software, and I know I'm saying the quiet part out loud and you're not supposed to, it's actually better than the closed source alternative. It loads faster in my browser. It loads faster when I download the piece of software, and it loads faster on my phone than Zoom. It also crashes less than Zoom in my experience. And the really cool thing about it, again, when you go from using like something like DaVinci Resolve to Kdenlive or OpenShot, you can't use third-party plugins anymore, and you don't even have a compressor with gain reduction. You're missing all this stuff. Like when I go from closed source software to open source software, very often I'm just used to the fact that it's going to be less easy to use, or I'm going to be losing features or functionality, so that I can feel good for the fact that I'm using something that is open source. Here, the open source alternative is not only better than the closed source and paid alternative, but it also doesn't have garbage in the terms and conditions like forced arbitration. So why would I ever use Zoom when I could use something like Jitsi? But further, I think so many people Zoom has almost become like Kleenex. And instead of people saying, can you get me a tissue? Can you get me a Kleenex? Instead of saying, can we hop on a video chat? They say, can we go on a Zoom call? And I really want to try and change this in society to where when people say, let's go on a video chat, let's do a video chat, that Zoom is not the default because Zoom is not the best. And when you read their terms of service, it's not even that good. Again, not only can you use something like Jitsi, which is Apache 2 licensed. This is open source. You have permission for commercial use, modification, distribution, patent use, private use. It is a nice piece of open source software over here. It's genuinely better than the closed source alternative, in my opinion, in every way. Now, here's another question here that comes from a viewer of the channel. Zoom forced an update with a new EULA containing the following: permitted use, customer content. Zoom may redistribute, publish, import, access, use, store, transmit, review, disclose, preserve, extract, modify, reproduce, share, use, display, copy, distribute, translate, transcribe, create derivative works, and process customer content in accordance with this agreement as required to perform our obligations of this agreement, in accordance with our privacy statement, as authorized or instructed by you, as permitted or required by law, for trust and safety purposes, including monitoring and enforcing our acceptable use guidelines. Or 6, to protect the rights, property, or security of Zoom, its end users, customers, or the public, including systems and networks. And the viewer of my channel says, giving Zoom full control to review and republish user conversations that appear to those users to be peer-to-peer or private communications before two or more users. What do you think of that? Well, some of this is kind of necessary. Again, you are using this service to be able to take your content from your camera, and sometimes Zoom allows you to do the blurring out of something in the background. You're going to be taking that and maybe multiplexing it to a video screen that includes a bunch of different users on it. They're doing it through their servers. There is going to have to be some sort of agreement that gives them the right to do that, and Jitsi does have something similar. However, in my opinion, when you read from the Jitsi terms of service, and as I say, I think this is considerably better. Because again, one of the things you may notice here, one of the reasons is for trust and safety purposes, including monitoring and enforcing our acceptable use guidelines, or to protect the rights, property, or security of Zoom. That's seemingly vague. And when you look at the Jitsi terms of service, it's similar, but in my opinion, better. You retain ownership of any intellectual property rights that you hold in your content. When you transmit, stream, communicate, record, receive, and/or store content to or through the service, you give 8x8 and those you work with a worldwide license to use, host, store, reproduce, modify, create derivative works, such as those resulting from translations, adaptations, or other changes we make so your content works better with the service, communicate, publish, publicly perform, publicly display, and distribute such content, and in bold here, this is what makes this better, solely for the limited purpose of operating and enabling the service to work as intended for you and for no other purposes. Make sure you have the necessary rights to grant us this license for any content you submit to or through this service. This, again, it gives them a license to be able to take your content and put it onto that screen where you can see everybody else's face and transmit it via their servers. But it's considerably more limiting than Zoom's terms of service, and again, no forced arbitration. This section that you see highlighted in bold over here demonstrates to me that Jitsi has far more respect for me as a user than Zoom. I highly suggest that everybody using this video try and change the culture within their workplace and within their friends. So if you hear somebody say, let's do a Zoom call, ask them, why do they default to Zoom? Why not use something that loads faster, crashes less, is free, and doesn't have garbage in their terms of service? Even better, if somebody says, hey, do you want to get on a call with me? And they send you a Zoom link. Respond with a Jitsi link. I've done that before. People have sent me Zoom links and I say, cool, meet me here. Click this at 1 o'clock, because it doesn't require you install anything. It works inside the browser. It's very easy to use. They're probably not even going to tell the difference. Oh yes, I red pill people on Jitsi on the daily, and it works. Most people, they're not going to care about these little minutiae in the terms of service, but they will care about something that's better. And in my opinion, Jitsi Meet works considerably better than Zoom. Jitsi Meet is a piece of software that I actually want to give money to because I've used it before on my channel. I've used it to do 2 of the video interviews that I've done here. And I literally cannot find out how to donate to them. I'm not kidding. If somebody can point this out, I'd love to know because I would like to give them money. I actually wound up looking a while back to figure out how to donate. And when you Google it, this is what you get. Jitsi Project is not currently accepting donations at this time. Jitsi has been a lifesaver for our team. Is there a way to donate? No. This is the only thing that shows up. I want to give them money, and they won't even take it. I'll be honest with you, the part that frustrates me the most as I do this video It's not, it honestly has nothing to do with forced arbitration, terms of service, open source versus closed source. I'm mad as an employer. I feel bad for Zoom. The thing that I've noticed with PR people in general and all the people that deal with these YouTube sponsorships is they're so bad. They're so bad. There are tens of thousands of YouTube channels that would happily take money to promote Zoom. Instead of going to them, you send me an email right around the time that I do a video on why forced arbitration clauses are trash, right as your company is inserting a forced arbitration clause into their own terms of service, and you want to collaborate with me. Like, just from an employer's point of view, as somebody who has had to deal with people who are completely clueless as employees in the past, who were just incredibly frustrating, who didn't have any basic attention to detail whatsoever, I actually feel bad for Zoom that these are the people that are marketing their product. They're worse trained than BlackBerry is on how to sit on the side of the chair when I'm doing a video rather than step on the keyboard. That's a really low level of training. Anyway, that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. Consider using Jitsi and consider red pilling people on Jitsi as often as you can. Respond to every single meeting you get for a Zoom link with a Jitsi link and be assertive. Tell them, yeah, 1 o'clock, click this. I'll be here. Not kidding. It actually works. And once people see how quick and easy to use and reactive and no bloat that Jitsi is, they're not going to want to go back to Zoom because they'll have Jitsi. They'll have everything they need. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Don't do it, Barry.